Alrighty, hello and welcome everybody. I'm your humble host, Gavin the Kitty, and today I'm streaming some Game & Watch games. Why am I streaming some Game & Watch games? Well, we'll get into that in just a second. But how's everybody doing today? Hello, Jonathan's Genius Adventures, welcome. I don't believe I've seen your channel before, so welcome to the channel. And hello, Fev. Early gang. I'm always early. But how's everybody doing? Let me make sure that everything's going okay here. How do I sound? Was audio any good? I hope audio's good. Yes, we're streaming some Game & Watch Gallery today, specifically because I want to talk about some older stuff. Oh, good, audio's good. I want to talk about some older stuff, some newer stuff, some stuff that's going on, and I figured Game & Watch Gallery is just a great way to do that. So, let's jump into this properly with how's everybody been doing this month. I got back from... There's some Waluigi's for you guys. Some wah. So I got back from MFF. Been working my butt off left, right, and sideways on some suits and getting set up for today. This was originally a stream that was supposed to happen last week, although we canceled it due to having some difficulties while recording Game & Watch games. I ultimately decided for today just to do the Game & Watch Galleries 4, even though I know for a fact that this is not the cleanest way to capture these games. But it's the only way that I have currently that's a proper way to capture these games for footage. Artie says, "Wah!" Welcome, Artie. Feel free to join voice if you're free. So, originally what we were planning on doing was to take a look at this from the viewpoint of the Mario series, particularly. My husband's here. Hey, Karmic, how you doing? So yeah, we were going to take a look at this from a viewpoint of the Mario series, because there is a good number of Mario-themed Game & Watches. However, while doing research, I found that a lot of the Mario-themed Game & Watches aren't really, you know, possible to record. Yeah, so while I was running through stuff, I just couldn't. Then we've had a couple of my buds flake on me for stuff, and it's like, okay, so this Game & Watch stuff's cursed. I'm stuck doing it on my own. So we're gonna start with Mario Cement Factory, which we're gonna start with the Reduxed version here. The goal here is to get the cement to the bottom. We got these pressurizers and steamers to start up. Now, here's the thing. It may be called Mario Cement Factory, but this is obviously a cookie factory. So, I have Brothership, which is good. Doesn't come until Friday. Oh man, I really want to play Mario and Luigi Brothership. So, some of you remember some of my plans. Some of you who have stuck around the channel for a little while have absolutely heard some of the plans that I had for this year. Originally going along the lines of, I wanted to do a bunch of Mario RPGs this year. Culminating in finishing up the year with the start of Partners in Time. I didn't get to do that this year, so it'll have to be a 2025 thing. Or Yoshi really enjoys eating cement, says Karmic. You know what? I wouldn't put it past him. I would prefer if you didn't, simply because I want to play that game on my own without any, without any, outside influence or anything like that. I would hate for the game to be amazing and then me love it and just be like, oh yeah, you can't play that for a while. But I do appreciate your offer, Fev. But yeah, I wanted to make this year kind of a Mario year, where I just do a ton of Mario, but we haven't had a chance to, so here I am making up for lost time. This was originally something we had planned for back in March. April-ish time, somewhere around there, and I haven't had a chance to get to any of this. So, let's jump into the history, shall we? Mario Cement Factory is a early Mario title. It was released around the same time as Mario Bros. For arcade. We'll get to eggs, don't worry. We'll get to egg. There's all sorts of really cool Mario games for Game & Watch. Artie says that their brain is sludged at the moment from the paperwork. A lot of the work beluga. Paperwork beluga. I don't know where my brain got paper from. Oh, we're running out of time. Oh, shoot. I needed to let that one wait, go down one. Ah. This is all sorts of tricky. I'll join you in voice another time, friendo. Alrighty. Well, I appreciate you just being here and watching. My PC's being all sorts of funky today. A boo to clog the system. Oh, boy. For those who have never played a Game & Watch in their life, they were LCD handhelds. And, that's not LED handheld, LCD. Liquid crystal displays. They are what have been used in watches for the longest time up until rather recently with the advent of smartwatches. Of course, you could make a video game using liquid crystal displays, so long as your game is themed around timing things. Since they are rather good at holding the time with using a watch battery, which is just what the Game & Watches did. For those that have never played a Game & Watch, well, good for you. Honestly, Game & Watch Gallery is one of those games that it's very, very simple, very, very tight in terms of timing. I think we've shown off quite a bit here, though. That is the modern version of Cement Factory. There's also a classic version. It looked a little bit something like this. Now, Mario Cement Factory, I believe, was one of the few that actually had 2 screens to it. They managed to compress it down to 1 screen. I'm going to try my best to state this and that. You'd think Game & Watch Gallery with 2 screen would be a great thing for, say, the DS, although they only made 2 volumes of Game & Watch games for DS, and they were entirely exclusive to Nintendo. I believe it was Club Nintendo at the time. How was I supposed to go back up if they were both heading down? Or are they not both heading down? They look like they're both heading down. Wasn't Game & Watch Systems LCD? That explains the sprites. I just said liquid crystal display. LCD. Oh, the right one does go up. I am dumber than a box of rocks. Alright. Well, you get the cue here. I figured Game & Watch games are very short and in their timing, so the way to look at them is sort of go all in a row. They had stuff like Donkey Kong, Mario Bros. I've got other Game & Watch galleries that we can check out as well. So, yeah. And I made sure to pick up a save that had just about everything here. The Game & Watch Gallery games for Game Boy Color, Game Boy Original, and Game Boy Advance were all in color and had remakes as well as new versions as well as old versions of the games they were trying to portray, not betray. I am losing my bonkers, losing my mind. So Donkey Kong Jr. here is one that was listed under multiple different titles. There was Donkey Kong Jr., and then there was Donkey Kong 2. We'll start with modern. So this is a remake of the one from Game & Watch Gallery 3. This is why I keep wondering, why did Nintendo port the Game & Watch Gallery 3 to Switch Online when they could have ported the Game & Watch Gallery 4. Because honestly, 4 looks better, it sounds a little better, it plays a little better. I don't know, I just like 4. I had 3, I have 3, it's sitting in my collection, but, while I played 3 a lot growing up, I more so play 4 nowadays, just because I know it looks better. It doesn't have all the games that 3 does, but it has most of them. I always wondered why they didn't do a 5 on DS, but then, of course, Nintendo beat me to the punch there with the whole, the Game & Watch collections, which, once again, they only had like 1 or 2 games on those for the DS, and most of the games they showed off were single-screen games, despite the DS having the best design for 2-screen that they could possibly ask for. Dang bullet bills, yes. So, MFF happened. I managed to sell the big prize suit, Ooze. So, I'm actually doing okay financially. Still not the best. Still a bit in the hole, but I'm doing a bit better than I was beforehand. Which is always better than it was. And to top that off, I also had a great time, got to meet a lot of people. Sadly, I did not bring my, my normal suit that everybody loves, so a lot of people did not recognize me. Shout out to Kite, Kite the Windswept Wanderer, for recognizing me even in, a different suit. That one we still can't get over. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to talk about everything that's been going on, because why not? For those who haven't seen the Secret Level episode, oh man, I've got theories. For those who don't know, the Secret Level is a ongoing Amazon Prime series with, that is an anthology series based on video games. And some of my favorite video games are there, being Pac-Man and Mega Man, and the Mega Man episode was awesome. Sorry, it was only 5 minutes, but it was awesome. And then the Pac-Man level had so much to do with Pac-Man that I was screaming at my screen going, that was awesome and weird, and I loved it. And then, I watched people online rip it to shreds, and then they announced Shadow Labyrinth, and I went, ha! So, yeah. Hey, Liam! 6 hours of hot work? Ooh. Did it with Grandpa. Oh, nice. Well, glad you're doing okay. Glad you're here. Glad you could join in. Yippee, taxes and don't knowing your pay rate. Oh, well, if you want, while you're here, I can help you out with all of that. It ain't that hard. And as for commissioning 2.0, I will be open. We're pretty much through with all of our commissions currently. We're waiting on payments coming in from, the gentleman who bought Ooze. Or maybe they prefer a woman. I don't know. I didn't actually ask. I don't know why I went over that far. I can just jump. I keep forgetting I can jump! It's Donkey Kong Jr., and I keep forgetting I can jump. But yeah, no, I got so many awesome things to talk about. Speaking of other things, I actually, started playing a game here recently. Managed to get my hands on, Doesn't Learn Jump. And Secret Level, yes. Yes. Yes to all. Here's the original Donkey Kong Jr. Somewhat. You gotta use the jump quite a bit more here. And then you gotta time the key. Then you gotta time that key jump. And I keep messing that up. I used to be able to get it really, really good. I actually used to play Donkey Kong Jr. a lot on Game Boy. Specifically the Game Boy Color version. What is going on there? I don't know. Anyways. Well, you get the idea. Donkey Kong Jr. is all about freeing Donkey Kong. And once you get to the end of the stages, they repeat. But there's more things going on. But we couldn't have had Donkey Kong Jr. without, at first, Donkey Kong. Which, this is also a slightly different version of Donkey Kong. I actually really like this version. So that... Oh, shoot. Yeah, you suck at SMB1. Timing thing. Yeah, timing is... all these old games have. If you ever want to see... yeah, when I started Dragon Quest III on PS5, I must say... good game. The HD 2D remake of DQ3 is rather good. I recommend it. I'm all sorts of confused. I think I have to go up top here to work my way around. Or not. For some of these games, I haven't played them in decades, or about a decade or two, so it's... I'm just not understanding, because you can't jump and move at the same time. You can only do one of those two actions. Maybe I'm not waiting long enough. That's where chat comes in. You guys can actually tell me what I'm doing wrong. If you guys know way more about this game than I do, then please tell me what I'm doing wrong. The assembly programming language. Oh, you're funny. There's really not much of any programming language in this game. In terms of, like, when this was originally released to the public. You see, watches don't need much in terms of a programming, and neither does the games. It's just all about reading when things are on and when things are off. And that's all that really matters as far as the Game & Watch games go. There's really no programming to them. So if you're ever wondering, why does Game & Watch games feel weird? It's probably because there's really not much going on. But yeah, no, I'm in kind of a good mood. Okay, I kind of gotta, like, hit jump at the same time that I'm not moving. Let's try the classic mode. And this is what I mean by, this is originally a 2-screen game. You gotta move Mario to kinda where he needs to be, and then jump it. Oh, yep. Where am I at? I think I gotta hit start. There we go. Maybe I'm moving a bit too fast for the game. Yeah, you don't have the background. Kind of laggy. Yeah, this whole game, you can hit B to enlarge it. Like I said, this would be much better on DS. And honestly, I think they should do that. I know this is going to sound weird. I think they should re-release these older titles. Not only the Game & Watch titles, but like Nintendo's NES and arcade lineups. with not only like a brief description describing how to play, but like a history, like interviews and stuff, kind of like what Digital Eclipse does. And I am running out of time with this, but I think they should honestly take more time to really explain the history of exactly what went on through like the developers' minds while they were making these games. You know, video games are a lot different than they were back then, and we treat them differently than we do now, so I think it's only fair. Oh, almost. You'd love to play Mario Kart Arcade on Switch. Well, I'm talking, when I say arcade games, I'm not talking the modern arcade releases. I'm talking stuff from the 80s and before that, like the 70s. Nintendo really didn't jump in until around the 80s, so, you know, I'm talking like, you know, 81, 82. I'm talking not only 80s, but also 90s. I'm talking early arcade, early to late arcade, where it's like, oh, yeah, these aren't games that in themselves need much explanation. But, since we're here, we might as well. So here's Donkey Kong 3. Now, those who know Donkey Kong 3 probably know Donkey Kong 3 probably know Donkey Kong 3 from the game where you play as Stanley. And you shoot up at Donkey Kong. Meanwhile, here on this Game & Watch, your only goal is to actually capture some water and fire things back towards Donkey Kong. And the theming for this game here, you can see we're shooting a boo and a fireball back. And whoever hits it last changes the direction of the boo. And I believe you gotta hit Donkey Kong upwards of 3 times? You can also tell that I'm kinda sorta bad at this. Yep. I'm not great at this. But yeah. That's the modern mode. Here's the classic mode. This was considered more of a 2-player game. And as you can see, it's still Stanley, and we're shooting bugs back and forth at each other. You can only have up to 3 shots on this. This thing has a little bit more going on with it. I'm gonna try to hit him once. Bug. Yes. There's also another version of this, considered Greenhouse, which was actually Stanley's first appearance, technically. If you don't know who Stanley is, it's Mario's cousin. They don't use him much anymore, and that's mostly because his game was not a hit. Donkey Kong 3 wasn't a hit. Greenhouse didn't do super great for Nintendo. You may see takes on this game in a few different spots, but come on, I can make them sting you at least once, right, Donkey Kong? Right? Maybe? If I plan this right. A lot of beeps and bloops here. I have no idea what you're talking about, Fev. I didn't get I haven't heard that much new feedback about Spiral Path. We are working on a deluxe version for Steam. I haven't gotten to really tell that many people about it yet. As you see, this game's kind of tough. It's much more fun in 2-player, because in 2-player, both players control one side of the screen, and it gets a bit hectic. I honestly like the remade version more, just because you can do more with it, but I can't seem to hit him at least even once. So yeah, for the sake of not losing my mind, that's Donkey Kong 3. And I believe that does it for all of the Donkey Kong coverage for Game & Watch Gallery, at least. Like I said, there was Donkey Kong 2, which is which was a different interpretation of Donkey Kong Jr. But there are other games on here like Mario Bros. And this, well, is interesting. So all you gotta do is, well, take them up using Mario and Luigi. Bowser's gonna be up there. He will stomp the ground and force the belts to change. We don't want any of the packages to hit the ground, so I don't... Fab, you're going on about something I have no idea. Anyways, getting into things. So, yeah, I've got a couple of videos planned for both this year and next year. I have one more video that I'd like to get out before the end of this year. Just so I can have some peace of mind. Next year, I've got a lot more planned. Hopefully, I'll get to do it. That's been the big thing for this year. I haven't gotten to do everything I've wanted to do with how busy I've been. Some of you who followed the art dump link in the description below on Telegram know that I have been working pretty much nonstop on fursuits this year. Well, I got back a bunch of data from Nintendo, because they have their year-end report thing that they do. So I could see exactly how many hours of gameplay I played. And it shows, like, June, July, and September are really, really low. Specifically September. September's got only, like, an hour worth of game time throughout the entire month. And I'm like, yeah, that sounds about right. I'm hoping to make up for that in 2025. Really spend my time enjoying it. One thing that you can do on the Game & Watch Gallery 3 on Switch is that you can pass your Joy-Con. You can split your Joy-Cons in half, right? So you can have one person play Luigi, one person play Mario. That way you'll last longer, but when things start to get really hectic, oh man, things get to be really, really fun. You haven't been using your Switch much, honestly. Well, I use my Switch for games. I use my PlayStation as a home media device. There's 100 points. Game slows back down. Not all the way, but a little bit. The game likes to switch up the speed at which the belts move, so... You can tell how fast the belts are moving based on both the music and how fast the items are hitting the belt. So, like, that's clearly a lot slower than it was going. It also reminded me that Echoes of Wisdom came out this year. That was the one thing that I think is kind of funny, is that you can see exactly when new games come out, because I'm like... The way I play games is that, like, if a new game comes out, I pick it up and I play it. Usually, it's a Nintendo game that I'm playing. Sometimes it's a third party. I'm hoping next year there's more good releases for me to actually play. Sorry if I sound a bit off today, folks. I have had a runny nose for the past several days. I think it's just the weather. It's been ungodly cold around, so... Every time I turn the house up, it's either too hot or it's too cold, so... Must have been the wind. That's what I keep thinking it must have been. It's the only way I must feel so, so weird. Yeah, I find this version of Mario Bros. To be insanely fun. It isn't as accurate as I would have liked. But it's good. The weather's been on a roller coaster. Yeah, it has. It's been on something. You guys can see Wario's driving the truck. Heyo, Zeke, welcome. How you doing today? Oh man, we're about a half hour in and I haven't even asked yet. If you guys could, please like and subscribe if you haven't done that yet. Been rather busy. I know I don't get streams out as often as I really should, but I promise you guys, I'm still working behind the scenes. Doing well, hope you are too. I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm, somewhere in the middle. This could be considered one of Mario and Luigi's jobs, by the way, as far as things. Skylar says, well, hi? How you doing, Skylar? It's been a little while since you've been on the channel. After a long break, yeah, well, I've been on a long fursuit making journey, so I'm just glad to be here, to be honest. Actually, after this, I'm going to be, later today I have a meeting regarding Spiral Path Deluxe. We're going to be working on extra levels and redesigning the early parts of the game. We're probably going to bang out most of the level design, at least the rough concepts for it. Had to be put on sub mode for some time due to reasons. Yeah. Yeah, you have to be put on, you have to subscribe to chat in the chat. The reason behind that is that we had some people, some bad people pop in before, last year, I think. When will the YouTube be unlocked on Discord? It won't. I tend not to let other people join in the chat. I've got my reasons. Oh wow, that is a lot of words. Good luck with the story, Liam. I can't wait to read it when you're done. I haven't played it, Skylar. I've been very broke over the last year. I haven't gotten a chance to play it. And I prefer no spoilers, because I do plan on playing it. Yeah. Making fursuits will do that. Honestly, if, Hey, Captain Wetbeard! You forgot you had it to screen today? That's the whole reason we're doing the level design later today. Speaking of the game Spiral Path, links are in the description. I didn't even know that, Skylar, but good for you. So no spoilers? Yeah, no spoilers. Same with Dragon Quest III. I know that it's not a new game, but I did pick up the HD version because I really wanted to... I like Dragon Quest 1 and 2. I can't wait for the remakes of 1 and 2. They're some of my favorite games, so... When they said they were remaking 3, and they're like, "Whoa, 1 and 2, we're also doing 1 and 2," and I'm like, "Oh, you gonna remake 4 next as well?" Darn. My whole thought process is, oh, wait, if 3 HD 2D does well, then maybe we'll get Dragon Quest 4, 5, and 6 HD 2D, since they're doing 3, 1, and 2. Ah! So close. Brewer says, hey, Brewer, how you doing? There's what I meant by Bowser switching the conveyor belts. He gets pretty harsh in this version. As you can see. I always thought it would be more interesting if it was Form and Spike at the top. I would love to do my own version of some of the Game & Watch games. Sort of as a fan game thing. To see if I can program, you know, on my own time. Program my own versions of these games, using the characters I think should have been in there, based on past sensibilities and not so much what Nintendo characters were they planning to use at the time, more so what would fit the game. And I think Form and Spike fits a lot better, because that's who they used in the original Game & Watch version for this game. Speaking of, I should probably show that off here in a little bit, but I figured I'd wait until I get a full game over, since I'm having a good run. Well, making ROM hacks is one thing. When I say making, I mean I'd be programming it from scratch to help me better understand the programming language GDScript that we use over at Lacewood Media. Which, for those who don't know, is the game studio that I help work at, I guess. We're trying to make it a thing. I don't know how to put it. Captain Wetbeard, how should I put it? It's like C# with mixed with Python. Yeah, it's cozy, but I'm talking more so about Lacewood. Do I work there? Do I help there? I suppose it's work, but it doesn't feel like work. Am I just hanging out there? Oh, he doesn't work there. He just, like, walks in every now and again. I don't understand it myself. I'm the office cat! I guess. I'm a work-from-home office cat, if that's the case. Captain Wetbeard says it's him, his wife, and his friend from high school, and B, who they met on the same day that he met met his wife. Yep. That is still gonna be the non-stop funniest thing ever. Like, just in terms of the way it worked out. On the same weekend that I went to my first furry convention, I made friends who I'm still in contact with, who now I make video games with, but then one of us met their wife at that con. And then Sam and Tim were friends. It's just interesting. It's interesting. All of it's interesting to me. It's funny, it's magical, life's weird. It's great. Wonder if I should show. I should probably show off the original Spiral Path on stream. Clearly, it's guaranteed odds. It's something. And I got friends I can make video games with. That's happened at least one of the cons I've went to. I've went to a lot more cons than them, so. New headphones came in? Oh, nice! I keep debating getting new headphones. Because the PS5 ones are a bit tight on my head. I've been using these old Turtle Beach ones we bought for a couple bucks. Used at a game shop. Clearly, this is the Mario game everybody wanted to see ported to Switch. Down, no. Like, my headphones work. Sometimes they work, at least. Weird and delightful. It's something. It's getting hard for me to focus on both the chat and the game. I figured, oh, I'll stop when I game over here, but for those who don't know, you just have to move Mario up to where he needs to be to start. Oh, we made it to 1,000. Letters are fun. Yeah, the most recent FurCon I went to was I wore only suits that I personally have made. I sold a fursuit. We managed to make a commission. Yeah. Oh boy. Alright, we made it to about 1,000, so... Give me just a second, folks. Alright, so I'm back. Let's see. Let's see if I can catch up. Guaranteed odds, headphones, Gen 1 Raycons, cheap earbuds. Weird and delightful. Yeah, before the headphones, get earbuds, need recharging. Liam said the first Furry con he ever did to him got a cameo on a YouTuber that rhymes with. And then, yeah, after Wetbeard says, added the note. Alright, so let's show off Classic Mode. Glad I'm caught up now. Classic Mode is the same sort of thing. But it's a little bit more, beepy. It looks simplistic. But it's got the exact same mechanics as the original. Revolta says, howdy? Howdy, how you doing? The giant rat. Yes, they do make all the rules. Alrighty. First package. Second package. The time limit here on the packages hanging off the sides of the platform, I believe, is just a little bit shorter than regular, but they also grab the packages a little bit faster in this one, so I think it about evens out to what would be fairly fair. Honestly, Mario Bros. Is one of those games that's like, yep, there it is. And there's Form and Spike. I think you guys get the picture. So, between Mario Bros., Donkey Kong, and Donkey Kong Jr. and Donkey Kong 3 and Mario Cement Factory, that's most of the Mario games on Game & Watch. But there's always the gallery. So we can see here all of the games that were released. Zelda in August. Super Mario Bros. New widescreen, which has never been re-released. I also couldn't find a way to play that one. Gold Chef. Climber. New widescreen. Balloon Fight. New widescreen. Safe Buster. There were a lot of games. Super Mario Bros. Crystal Screen. These are different than the Super Mario Bros. Game & Watch that was released 2 years ago now for the anniversary. Mario Cement Factory? Yes, we started with Mario Cement Factory. I might end with Mario Cement Factory. It's a rather interesting game. These are all games. Donkey Kong Hockey, which has never been re-released. Donkey Kong Circus, which has also never been re-released. Donkey Kong 3, of course. There was Mickey Mouse, which had a panorama screen. Crab, Spitball Sparky, which is a very influential game, at least in terms of Nintendo's history. Pinball, Mario's Bombs Away, which is on this collection. Donkey Kong Jr., Manhole, the NES's release, of course, Donkey Kong 2. As you can see, the Game & Watch is a rather popular device. Yeah. So let's start, I think, here with Mario's Bombs Away. So this... And there we go. Managed to... And that is not what I wanted to do. What do I have to do here? I could have sworn I have to get it to the other side of the screen. There we go. So you gotta wait until that guy over there is ready, and then take it all the way over. We can't get caught by the flame on the oil, or the fires coming down from the enemy. There we go. I want to see if I can get at least one. I'm not going to be able to get one, am I? Yeah, Mario's Bombs Away. This one is one that's not often re-released. I don't know whether it's because it has Mario... I'm not sure whether it's that Mario is on the cover here, mixed with the theming of this game, or what, but it's often one of the Game & Watch games that is really forgotten about, but it's an interesting combination. I'm sure if I had time to sit here and just really get good at this game, I could. Maybe he'll grab it. Maybe. And that counts as a fail. It's kind of all a mess. Leprechaun. That is something. That's certainly a comment, Liam. Then we've got. Let's see here. We'll get to Zelda. I've done this one on the channel before, believe it or not. When we did The Legend of Zelda, I ended it with Zelda for Game & Watch because it was an interesting find. Let's see here. Let's start with Parachute, shall we? So Parachute here is one of Nintendo's early Game & Watch games, and all you gotta do is just catch the guys as they fall. Game & Watch games don't have to be complicated. They can be simple. But simple is enough to be fun. Something that a lot of people don't realize nowadays is that games are should be always striving to be fun. And sometimes the most you need to be fun is simple. Atari games will often be simple, but they'll be fun. They can be a challenge, they can be hard, they can be difficult. They don't always have to be. This one's got quite a number of things going on with it, as you can see. And of course, these games would have been marketed not just to like kids, they would have been marketed towards young adults. Sometimes they were marketed to adults because they were a cheap alarm clock. And that was something else to remember, is that the Game & Watches aren't just games, they are watches. Alright. Where's my thought at? Right. These devices were marketed towards both not only just kids, but young adults and adults because they were cheap alarm clocks. They had an alarm function as well as a timer function on some of them. And they were small enough to basically keep on you at any period of time. The idea for the Game & Watch came about because a lot of people were playing with a lot of businessmen in Japan were seen playing with calculators in Japan. So when you're on the train or stuff, you'd see business people just fiddling with their calculators. They were bored. They didn't have much else to do, so play with the only thing they got in their hands. A calculator. Calculators don't have much going on with them, but they've got that LCD display. And here's a rather interesting Game & Watch game known as Climber. This would have been what most would be considered ice climbers. I believe if it would have been released today, running out of space here. I fell all the way down. I don't believe Climber has any other sort of prerequisite to it, other than ice climbers. So, it's a tricky one, to say the least. It's got its origins in video games nowadays, although I'm not sure I'd classify it all the way as being ice climbers. It's got some of the similar mechanics of going up higher and clearing out blocks to clear your way. But that's all it's got going on here, which is certainly something. That's the winning platform. There we go. And there we go. We got the Falcon at the top, and we got some bonus points. just like Ice Climber. Honestly, knowing the history of most Nintendo properties, it's rather interesting to see them take Game & Watch titles and turn them into NES titles, and vice versa. Super Mario Bros. Came out first, and then the Super Mario Bros. Game & Watch game, but here I believe Climber was one of the ones where Ice Climbers actually came afterwards. I would love to see a full history / write-up on Climber, but we really don't have that. Manhole's another very popular one. Nintendo tends to like to show this one off quite a bit. But I honestly think Manhole is one of the weaker Game & Watch titles. It's got the same sort of concept of being frantic and covering up the manholes. Kind of like moving the pies through the Mario Brothers game. But this is, I don't know, it just doesn't feel as interesting to me. And you only need to cover up the manhole for just a second to get on the cross. One of the later versions on Game & Watch Gallery 3 actually had this game with Yoshi pulling up the covers using his hands and the tongue. I don't know, but Manhole just never interested me in the slightest. It's an interesting game, and I'm sure there's some interesting history behind it, but there's not much to it. And we've got Fish here, which is a take on a different game, believe it or not. I believe it's a take on, it's a different version of, oh shoot, what is it? It's either Chef or Fire. Captain Wetbeard says he hasn't played that much Game & Watch stuff, and they feel like they should play more. Game & Watch is something interesting. I feel like there's a lot more to the story behind it, but a lot of people have told the story. Most people don't pay attention to most of the Game & Watch games because, let's be real, they're simple. But simple is all you need to be fun. Honestly. And I think that's why I think a lot of Nintendo... a lot of the stuff Nintendo does is overlooked when it comes to Game & Watch content. Imagine being the pet store owner here, and just imagine that. You might actually see some of these characters in the Mario movie. If you're paying real close attention to some of the background characters, they look a lot like these Game & Watch artwork pieces. Honestly, I find the Game & Watch characters to be some of the most interestingly designed characters in Nintendo's arsenal that they don't really use anymore. They used to use these characters all the time. Essentially, anytime it suit their fancy. And any NES game that needed some background characters, oh, just pull it from this Game & Watch title. Nowadays, they're a bit more careful with that. We lost a fish. But that's tropical fish. Oh. Why am I not hitting the right button? There we go. Parachute. Didn't show off really can't hit the right button, can I? Message board, music room. You want to try Sparks of Hope? I'm kind of nervous because it's probably got different controls than Kingdom Battle. No, not really. Not really. It really doesn't have that much different controls. Sparks of Hope and Kingdom Battle both are very, very similar in that regard. Alright. Moving on to some of the other games here. Let's start with a big one, Fire. This is one I hear a lot of people try this one. I've heard things that there's like tricks. I heard there's issues with this one. So, in some version of Fire, they were misprinted, going right to left. The initial idea was to have them going from left to right. So this one is actually more accurate to the initial design of Nintendo. But the Fire that was printed in the version of Fire that they've remade on Game & Watch Gallery 3 was the opposite version. So there's actually a version of Fire that goes the opposite way. That is the one interesting fact that I do actually know. I'd love to see this idea taken to an extreme in the next Mario movie. Take more ideas from Game & Watch to get these characters real expressive. I don't know if you ever noticed, but the Game & Watch games have Mario and Luigi about as expressive as they have been recently on in things like Mario Odyssey and whatnot. So if you're ever curious, oh, why is it... Maybe that's good? No, that's a bad thing. I figured I'd try it, just to see. So here you can use either the D-pad or the A and B buttons to move Mario and Luigi to where you need them to go. I tend to just use the D-pad, but using the face buttons with the D-pad actually allow for faster movement, because you don't have to focus on which button you're having to hit. Honestly, I like to take a lot of Nintendo's approach when it comes to some of the design, when it comes to games. I believe Sam's seen this quite a bit when we talk about, or Captain Wetbeard's seen it a lot when we discuss games. I'm sorry I keep flip-flopping your name. Hope it doesn't bother you too much. But something like a Game & Watch collection sell today without brand recognition thing, that's actually something I wanted to see. You see, simple is fun, and fun can be simple. Fun doesn't have to be simple. That's something I'd love to test out. I'd love to test the market just to see what would happen if we did a small collection of Game & Watch galleries. Something like UFO 50 is done fairly well with that concept of, does Nintendo's games work without the Nintendo brand recognition? And it seems that it does. UFO 50 is widely popular. It's just a matter of doing it right. And I think a Game & Watch collection where we make it mean more than it is could actually do incredibly well. Tumbling Toads. List of ideas. Yeah, I want to flesh it out more than just a Game & Watch gallery, though. I feel like if we made a Game & Watch gallery type game, I would love to make it a little differently than a lot of like Game & Watch Gallery is. We've remade Game & Watch games. We've thrown in a little bit of history. Enjoy. But what I'd like to do is make a story out of it. Have some fun with that plot, with the other gameplay ideas. Have a all-around game that, you know, is like kinda like Spiral Path, but not really. As far as like movement and areas to go, like you have to do something. And the way to do that and solve the solution is get a certain score at this Game & Watch style game. Have fun, good luck. And I think that's an idea there that I think people could really get behind. But I think but what I was saying beforehand was about how I like to design games. And I think you've seen this a lot, Captain Whitebeard, is that when I tend to pitch ideas in games and stuff, I take a weird Nintendo approach of... Mario and Luigi are hiding, like, we didn't do it. But yeah, no, I like to take the weird Nintendo approach of, like, is it fun first and foremost? Is it fair secondly? So I will always second guess or doubt, like, half the ideas we do. Yeah, fun rules. Fun rules and simple fun is usually what rules the most. Well, there's fire. Showing off a little bit of that. Why not rain shower? I've never actually played this one. We have to save the toad dangling there. I'm assuming other things will hop in the carts. Yep, we're good there. Welcome, El Rey. Welcome, welcome. Swing that way. Yeah, this is a little bit tricky. So I believe the colors dictate which spot they're gonna go in. I think. It's looking that way. Green is close, purple's far away. I don't know why Bowser's in the tree thinking he should ruin the fun here. You know, why doesn't DK Jr. just stop hanging on there? Go do something else. Toad looks a bit stuck. Like, he needs some help. But why is DK Jr. there? This, I believe, was one of the last times Donkey Kong Jr. would show up in a game. I think he hasn't. The only time I think he's shown up since has been to reference the NES or early Donkey Kong days, and not really anything else. I knew today was probably going to be a shorter day as far as the stream went. Knowing Game & Watch games and how I was going to cover them. I knew I was going to get to the Game & Watch games eventually, sooner or later. But the thing that I have to always remember is sometimes it's okay to do things like a shorter stream. I know I like to do like 2 or 3 hours, but sometimes just an hour is good. Oh, now we have to deal with Peach. This is where the chaos comes in. Sunrise Jr. grew up, left the games industry. Now he's his reclusive log cabin. Yeah, sure. Let's go with that. You want to catch the moons, avoid the oddly colored potion bottles. Now we've got another color coming in. Oh, darn it. Alright, well, let's try out Classic. Yeah, just what I figured. We have our laundries out today, and they didn't pay attention to the forecast, so now we have to get them to avoid the water. This feels like an impossible task as far as real life is concerned. Boxing is a lot like Punch-Out. In fact, I believe it was originally intended to be Punch-Out. Boom! Luigi won. The fight of the century, a Wiggler versus Luigi. Knockout. Yeah, we did it. Just barely, but we did it. Ah, I left myself open. It's kind of tricky. It's kind of tricky. And I think that's a knockout for the Boo. And we got Waluigi. For all of those Waluigi fans. Looks like he wants to go again. Luigi coming at us with the kicks. I must say, he looks pretty good with the gray overalls. I keep thinking that Luigi can move faster than he is. Just gonna be trading him back at back, it looks like. Alright, you get the idea for boxing. That's, I think that's all of them for this side? Yeah. Waluigi's kicking, where's the ref? The ref's probably out to lunch. So let's feed the ref, shall we? This is one of the few games here where I actually know of a remake for it called Modern Chef. I'm not entirely sure what I have to do here. I think we have to feed the Yoshi. I'm just confused by that one. I already showed up Mario Bros. And Donkey Kong. Let's try Octopus. This is one of the games they remade for DS. Which... yeah. So the goal for Octopus here is to just get across to the treasure to get back up to the top. The more treasure you have, the slower Mario will move. But the more possible points you can gain. Octopus was later part of the Nintendo Land with Octopus Dance. And honestly, that is one of the more fun games in Nintendo Land. Believe it or not, I think the Wii U is the perfect example of Game & Watch style fun done properly. Nintendo doesn't try to do anything more than just simple fun. Nintendo Land is one of those great games that's simple fun. One of the launch titles for the Wii U was known as Game & Wario. And that game is absolutely excellent in terms of simple fun, especially since it's got some great multiplayer modes. It's fun to pull out at parties and stuff. So, yeah, no, I think the Wii U is exactly the kind of fun that people should be having with games. And I think the Game & Watch is more of that. And I think Game & Watch Gallery is truly the part of Nintendo where... The part of Nintendo where they truly thought about, well, what will sell a game? And the answer is fun. Anybody could have bought a digital watch. Anybody could have bought a LCD watch. A special, or a clock with an LCD in it. But the thing that made the Game & Watch so successful was the fact that it was fun. And portable fun on the go is what Nintendo's usually been pretty good at. Wario's so powerful he can squash the bombs like they're Goombas. All you gotta do here is protect the building. Because it looks like they're building a gold Wario statue, so of course Wario wouldn't want it destroyed. Yeah, you'd think Wario would have the smart idea of moving the cannons out of the way. You know, he's a big bully, he likes to bully the enemies, why not? This one's kind of got the same hecticness that the Mario Bros. Game does, in a different sort of form factor. I kind of want to try this one two-player. Another game that this is the whole reason I think this game should be added to Switch Online. Just so you could try it two-player. I got a little bit too over my head on that one. Alrighty. Chef, Fire Attack. Oh, looks like we've done all of them there. So, it's time to show off the big one. Hardina? Welcome. Welcome, welcome, Hardina. We're just finishing up for the day. We've got Lifeboat, Safe Buster, and of course the big one, Zelda, which we're going to end on. Safe Buster, yeah. Could be a Ghostbusters thing. It's like this is a life raft sort of thing. Alright, well that's Lifeboat. Seems kind of like the other ones. A lot of these are going to be very, very similar. There's not a whole lot you can do with LCD games. Oh, this one seems kind of like a Kaboom clone. Ah, they got the money. Well, I believe that's all of them. I've shown off pretty much all of them except for this one, so let's do this one. Okay, so I gotta go around this way. I was able to get that one there. Oh, that timer there is counting down. I don't know how to pull things back, so it looks like I just lost. Alrighty, well, that makes sense. It's kind of a maze game based on Pac-Man. Let's finish with the big one, shall we? Zelda. Zelda's pretty big. So you gotta come up there, avoid the Stalfos on the bottom. Tomahawk is... Oh, you misread the Tomahawk as Tony Hawk. Yeah, not quite. We've got a map up top, and we can just pick which way we gotta go. We're essentially just going through as a dungeon in Zelda 1. So we can only go up this way. You have a new enemy that shoots you from behind. You gotta switch where your shield's at. It's kind of an interesting game. Honestly, if you want more in-depth on this Zelda, I did do a more in-depth look during our Zelda 1 playthrough on the channel. But yeah. More so, I just wanted to show off Game & Watch games, hang out, vibe for a little while. But we're about an hour and a half in, and I think that's it for today. I really don't have a whole lot else planned, so this has been the Game & Watch Gallery 4. We may do a look back at the other Game & Watch Gallery games, and eventually, if I can find a way to emulate the missing Game & Watch games that I would like to look at for the channel, we'll probably do that as well. So, with all that being said, I have been your humble host. If you enjoyed the video, please follow me on X or follow me on Blue Sky at GavinDragonYT. You can donate to the PayPal link on your screen or in the description below. And you can always see my artwork both here on the channel, also at the art dump in the description. We also have a Discord down there. I'm way all over the place at the moment. But I've been your humble host. Good night, everybody.